All right.
It.
It looks like we are live. Let me just check on my channel that everything is happening, and we can then start. There you go. I'm going to send you the link, and then we can get started. So just a second, guys. Right.
I'll just tweet it
Okay.
out for you here. What's happening? I am live with
All right.
Dennis. Is it D-E-N?
Double N-I-S. Yes.
Dennis. And how do I spell your surname again?
K-O-R-A-Y.
K-O-R-K-O-R-A-Y.
Yes.
Correct.
All right. So I haven't been live on YouTube for quite a while.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a while. So let's see how everything works out. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a very nice interview, I guess. And
Well, let's see what happens. I've just
yeah,
tweeted it out.
let's see. So I mean, if you're ready, let's start.
Sure.
All right. Okay, guys, welcome to today's live interview. We just decided to do it live. Why not, right? It's always better if we get some viewers here. And I'm here today with Ockert Loubser, or the Americans or English say Loubser, right?
Yeah. I have many names, it's October Lobster, Awkward Loopser,
Yeah. But it's a very special guest. Ockert is the CEO of Core Decentralized Technologies, which basically is a very interesting blockchain utility token, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about you, about your background, how you got into crypto and stuff, and what basically we can expect when Core launches, and why it's so super interesting. Because I mean, we've met a few weeks back, and you showed me some of the technology and some other people. It's really impressive what you have built over the last years, but we'll get into that in a minute. So first, I'd like to start with a little bit about you, like where you're from and basically how you got into crypto.
Okay, well, I'm originally South African, was born there. I lived in multiple different countries with my father, who traveled a lot in his business and things that he's been doing. Been exposed to a lot of different cultures and a lot of different environments and, different languages and things like this. So, but when we went back to South Africa and I finished my school years there, I then, sort of like started also a little bit with development. We were always in, either video or peer-to-peer or GPRS networks or streaming or something like this type of development. And basically, I've always been in sort of like blockchain type of technology. Of course, back in 2003 and 2004, the blockchain didn't exist. But, there was some form of tokenization was already there, and distributed ledgers and things like this was already, available. So we developed like these types of things. So my background is already on peer-to-peer basis. And
so technology in general, that's your background, right?
Yeah, technology, marketing, graphic design, advertising, development. I don't have a development degree, but I taught myself how to develop and do certain things. My father, also threw me always in the deep end, threw a device on my table and said, this is your future, learn how it works.
Well, that's a good way to learn, right? Like what kind of programming did you do? Or did you go more to the hardware side?
Well, what I did is I did a bit of .NET, a bit of C#. I did some PHP. I developed in, of course, normal front-end React, JavaScript, a few, bit of front-end development and things like this. I wouldn't call myself the best developer now because I'm not developing so much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did in multiple different languages. I try here and there different environments, do different things, so yeah, but basically how I got into blockchain was actually quite an interesting story. It's actually the start of core decentralized technologies and how everything actually came about, because what we did is we actually developed in here, like since 2012 we started developing a e-commerce platform. And back in those days, it was on the Tizen platform, just when Samsung released the Tizen platform. I actually have one of the first mobiles that they tried to release with their own operating system. The smart TVs are still using Tizen, but I started developing this application for the TVs itself. It was basically like an e-commerce platform. And the biggest challenge that we had in 2012 and 2013 was to split the payment. And it's actually the platform that today as Toktoki. So, and then here around about end of 2013, when Rastislav was with us and started when he joined us and we started developing, he introduced me into crypto by splitting the payments after I, had huge, let's say, not luck whatsoever in trying to split the payments with PayPal, Authorize.net, to check out banks, all these types of platforms. None of them wanted to split the payments for the merchants. So basically what happened was Rastislav then said, well, we can do this in cryptocurrency. And of course, Bitcoin was running around and people were saying, Bitcoin. And I was like, I was fascinated by the peer-to-peer technology. And I was fascinated by the immutable ledger, but I wasn't sure about it. And then Rastislav sort of enticed me a little bit with it. I started reading up about it. And then, of course, in 2014, when Ethereum came out, we kind of call Ethereum the godfather, because they actually started with the smart contracts, which was linked to it. Of course, they didn't, the smart contracts was already developed, in the 50s, but they just brought it into blockchain technology. And it was then that actually execution and functions and the possibilities of, blockchain technology itself started to really intrigue me. Did
you invest into Ethereum?
Yeah, I did actually. Okay. I didn't actually buy. I immediately started with mining and did a lot of Bitcoin mining, Ethereum mining, Litecoin. We did some Doge, we did a bit of Monero. We mined a little bit of, what was the other coin? Oh, Dash. That's it, not Doge, but it was Dash. Yes. So we mined Dash and, we set up quite a lot of miners. Did a bit of business with it. It was actually, it was really great at the time. And this was sort of also what intrigued me quite a bit about it is that, you can generate a currency like this. And I started seeing the potential of blockchain itself, specifically, with the immutable ledger, the peer-to-peer transacting. And most important is actually the peer-to-peer data settlement, which very few people actually really understand. What the blockchain can actually do. It's not just a financial means. It's not just a means of exchange or means of payment, depending on what government, decide it to be finally, if it's whether means of payment or means of exchange. But actually, there's settlement taking place. Any transaction that you're doing is actually data settlement. And this is sort of where it really, really got me, into it. And with TTK starting everything, that's when we said, okay, well, let's build an exchange. So Rastislav sort of came to us and said, okay, well, if you want to do the splitting of payments, we got to build an exchange. And then after we built, started building the exchange, we then realized. So
the idea was to build the exchange to get into the e-commerce side of the blockchain business. So you thought of it basically as a means of payment. So you thought that people are going to use it as an internet currency, and you want to develop a solution to split payments through that.
Yeah, and that's when we we started with the exchange, linking it to the e-commerce platform. Then we realized, we need a payment gateway to actually give merchant accounts so that they can actually split the payments, and having the exchange linked to that, you can actually define what currencies you want. So we started developing that. And then one day, my father called us in And, we sort of like sat down in his apartment and we had a really in-depth discussion about blockchain technology. And the biggest problem with blockchain technology, well, up until we now released with the core blockchain, was the scalability, the affordability, the reach, the speed, but still staying in a decentralized like proof of work. We call it proof of distributed efficiency because of the new algorithm, but staying in that means of being fully decentralized. This was a big challenge. And so Michael said, well, let's build a coin. And let's build our own network. But we don't want to build a coin for a coin. We want to build it for that network so that you can actually put these types of use cases like the e-commerce platform, like the exchange, like the payment gateway, so that you have a settlement in data settlement. And that's when ED448 came up. We started researching actually all the different cryptographies and what's being used. And the decision to use ED448 is first and foremost the compliance, because this is what government, CIA, FBI, secret services, banks, military, all of them use this form of encryption. So it's got a really high level of encryption, even though it's one of the younger ones. And also we like the name Goldilocks, it's kind of sexy a little bit. So, so we took that, and then we actually, we didn't just make the decision on the name and things. It was actually that it allowed you to have this scalability and to have the speed of settlement and encryption and decryption and things like this. So this, it allowed the blockchain to be adapted in a real world environment. And that's when we said, okay, well, let's build that blockchain. And then let's build a smart contract platform which can be interoperable with other networks so that it can have a cross multi-chain smart contract platform where you can still utilize the network and do like a settlement in 42 seconds with, like small block sizes with instant data availability and messaging instantaneously available within the smart contracts itself, and also being able to attach documents to it, which is where we built the core, let's say messaging network, which is the underlying network which runs parallel towards the blockchain. And
but basically what you're saying is like the idea you had is basically led to the development of core because you needed a technology which can provide all that we were just talking about, because nothing like that existed in the before, right?
And then of course, having look, core is, excuse the pun, it is the core of blockchain technology being implemented into the real world. This is actually what core is. It is really a core instrument that you can use to bring blockchain to everyday life.
So you believe that blockchain needs utility, because like I've been in crypto since 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the impression, like for me, Bitcoin was always peer-to-peer electronic cash. That changed in 2017 when basically Bitcoin was branded as digital gold and inflation hedge and whatnot,
store of value,
store of value, right? And I personally, I'm more of a fan of the peer-to-peer electronic cash stuff because I want people to use it. But in the end, it's like, are we still like, for me, after being in crypto for so long, it feels people don't care about any of this stuff. They want to get rich, they care about meme coins, Doge, and all this stuff around it. And I think we're now in a shift, like where blockchain really needs real world use cases. And it's not happened yet in a
until
way
now
that has impacted, and core is trying to get into that. It's not a niche really. I mean, it's the core, like the utility. Without utility, I mean, who's going to use it really? Most people don't use crypto anyway. Most people just hodl it. And I mean, depending how you define it, hodling, is it using? I don't know, if it's just sitting dormant in your wallet. But the utility part basically comes into play now, really. It's just starting to get into the minds. Like now that's everything. The government is more putting more attention and regulation to crypto. It feels a little bit like the .com bust, where all those companies were overvalued like crazy, pet.com, and I don't know how much they were worth, but basically it was all hot air, you know. It's like only the companies who really had utility, who really brought something new to the table, really survived, like in PayPal and Amazon and eBay, and all those companies basically came forth, and they're now dominating. And now I think it's a time in crypto that we will see like a split as well, you know, like of real world use cases. And this is something with your technology. We're going to talk about that a little bit, which is super interesting, that we are now basically coming into a new phase. But I'm still not 100% convinced that people are in a way ready for it to use it, because they still want to just get rich, you know.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yes, there are those that want to get rich, but let's put it this way. Look, of course, you know, being at the start of a blockchain, specifically something like ours, you know, our aim is primarily to bring the use cases into the market with a network that is feasible, that can be scalable, remaining in a decentralized proof of distributed environment, having the right type of security, because also a lot of people are kind of like scared about the security, you know, being compliant, being able to program regulation in any jurisdiction, ICANN standards for you know, any financial or payment service providers, and data transfers, which you can do at you know, 42 seconds, with data actually being instantaneously there. So the speed is at our side. And of course, the affordability, because right now, if you want to do transactions and things like this in Ethereum or in Bitcoin or things like this, it's quite expensive. And, you know, specifically if you want to do bulk transactions, which means like, you know, if you want to do transactions in the environment of, let's say, for example, a MasterCard or something like this, you know, to be able to be scaled up to that level, yes, you have, you know, other blockchains like Solana and these types of things that are proof of stake, and they have their network that they've developed to do this. But being in a decentralized environment, in you know, a mining environment, which is like a proof of work type of environment, to be able to do that, this is what we achieved. And to still keep it affordable but fully decentralized, you know, we can scale up to 10,000 transactions per second. Yeah. So this is no problem for us. So we've already proven that. And you know, this is like the interesting part about, you know, the crypto environment. Let's just go a little bit back. You know, you started off with the telex machine, then you started off with a fax machine, then email came, then, you know, then the internet was actually there with email. And that's when the first use case actually came. So the internet is email. Then websites started coming. Then the dot-com boom came. And the only reason why the internet exploded so much and the dot-com boom came, because people adapted it, because they had the right tools to be able to do that. This is exactly what we've built. We built an underlying blockchain network, which is a decentralized blockchain network. And then what we did is we built all the use cases and the tools for businesses, individuals, to actually utilize it, to integrate it, whether it's centralized or decentralized. It doesn't matter. And you can build all of your technology on top of it. I mean, we just now recently released the testnet development environment, where everyone can now actually go and build their dApps, write their smart contracts. They can get their coins for testing. They can do everything. So that's XAB. The core coin is XCB, the mainnet coin. So the testnet is XAB. And that's where you can, you know, that it doesn't cost you any money, and you can have your coins and you can test the dApps that you're building. And if you want to build a token on there, you can build your token on there and do everything that you need to. So this was like the first phase, was to release that. Then, of course, you know, being in a proof of work environment, or well, in proof of distributed efficiency environment, the biggest problem that you have is that you need liquidity. So, of course, we needed a time frame now to be able to mine the coins and to make sure there's enough liquidity when we release it into a tradable environment. And this is where, of course, the people will that want to hodl it and that want to get rich, or that want to trade and things like this. But actually, this network is made for both. It's made for whatever you want to do. So if you really want to do a use case, if you really want to adapt it and implement it, that's why we have the digital identity. That's why we have a settlement platform. That's why we have an exchange, payment gateway. We have e-commerce. We have video streaming, video calling. All of these things actually utilize this network to actually showcase that you can bring it to everyday life, and it's not expensive.
Super interesting. I mean, this is basically what it says on your website. I'm going to put all the links to Core and the token, everything into the description. But on the website, it says the Core Group has developed a software solutions platform designed to support 21st century communications, data management, identification, social interaction, and transactional solutions. And basically, you provide the framework for all the needs people might have in a decentralized way. And some of your technology even works without the internet, like you have your own mesh network, which is super interesting. So we saw that when we last met in Salzburg. You showcase basically how you can make calls and transact data without the need for internet. So no Wi-Fi, no SIM card, no phone reception. And this is something completely new, it's like building a completely new technology with all the use cases on top. And maybe that's why you've been developing for years and years and years, because there's so many things which basically come together. And to be honest, like if you look at all the blockchains today, they are not really able to scale to a huge worldwide use. I mean, I remember Ethereum in 2017, CryptoKitties came out, and the network was basically going crazy. Like fees were super high, and same last bull run with the decentralized finance hype on Ethereum, the fees just got outrageous. And I mean, we have seen many other blockchains obviously trying to increase the load and everything, but they haven't developed new technology. They haven't developed new ways. It's basically just dressed a little bit different, right? And Core has done something completely new.
Yes, it is entirely new. It's a proprietary blockchain. It's taken us, look, to have developed this. Of course, we took certain parts from good blockchains, because why do we need to reinvent the wheel? And also that makes us interoperable. If you want to run something that's based on Ethereum, and you want to port an Ethereum smart contract to a CRC standard, which is our standard, you need some form of Ethereum also, to run. And they're the godfathers that paved the way right in the beginning. That when Ethereum came out, this was like revolutionary. Yeah. Now what we've done is I'm not saying, we are revolutionary, but I can say I really know that we've built one of the best ones out there. And you can really go and test it, go and check it out. We're doing constant upgrades. We're doing constant additional development to it. I mean, the team doesn't stop working. It's gotten, we thought it might calm down a little bit, and we'll be like, okay, getting ready for the next releases of the application. It's just going even more haywire. There's just so much more to do. And, our team is just expanding. We're really exploding. So, I mean, we have now 320 employees full-time globally, and we are recruiting every single day more and more, because we need more team members. We need developers. We need UI UX designers. We need all these things for all these platforms, because we're just expanding the services more and more. We have use cases every single day begging and banging down our doors. We have very interesting large companies that have now actually started understanding what we've built, that it is an infrastructure.
But it's not easy to explain, right? I mean, you have something completely new. It's like if you have a blockchain and you say, we can automate things and we can put it into a smart contract. Okay, you can explain that to someone who has a little bit of understanding. But once you have a new technology like you do, I imagine it's not that easy, right?
No, it's the hardest thing to do, is to explain to someone that has no idea. But we learned over the ways of how to speak to certain audiences, and we've learned over the ways of the one thing that we're trying to do is we don't want to force you to know that you're using the blockchain in an application. So
that's the best way, right? I mean, this is
what does it matter what the technology is that you're using? If you can trust the application, and that it's a trustworthy application, and that you're in control of it, What do you care of what's in the back end of whether it's blockchain or not? So why do we need to specify? The only time that you're going to know that it's in the blockchain is when you see crypto, as a wallet is there and there's core coin and core tokens. But if you earn an income and if you can utilize the application with it, it makes it so much more easier. So, and the worst part is, to make something so complex, so simple, is what really takes the amount of time. It's like asking a copywriter when you ask them, how much does one page cost to write? They will tell you it's $500 or whatever. And then you say, okay, so how much is half a page? They will tell you it's probably $1,500. And they will say, why? And they will say, because you've just given me half the amount that I can write, and I have to still produce the same amount of content. It's going to take me much longer to get the right words and the right sentences in that. And this is exactly what we did is we congested the applications to become usable, feasible, that you don't even really know if you're using blockchain or not. The only thing you know is that it is secure.
And this is something we've talked about as well, like if you look at today's age, I mean, everything is censored online. You have to be careful what you say, your data. I mean, basically, I'm pretty sure you just mentioned some government agencies in the beginning of the stream. Everyone is listening, basically. Like, of course, everything you do on your phone, it's like the dream. It's like it has a microphone, and like I talk about something, and then I see an ad for it on my phone. It's like it seems like they are listening all the time, and they control your data. We are basically just being harvested for our data, for our time, for our attention. And this is something I hope that blockchain could give back to the people. This is why I love crypto, because crypto gives you sovereignty over your money. You are in possession of your key. You control it and nobody else. And this is something which I really find super, super interesting. And with data, it comes hopefully a time sooner or later where people will be back in control of their data and not the big corporations who basically they serve you all the information. And I mean, you think you have a free will and you can choose the information you consume, but basically they control everything and they control the data. And with core blockchain as well, you are basically giving people the power back, the control back of the data, right?
Exactly. But you see, what is the big thing that's happening right now? It's NFTs and it's Metaverse. Everyone's talking about Metaverse. Now, what is a Metaverse other than a profile? And if you create an NFT that's an avatar, and the big conglomerates that are building these avatars for you, and that's building these environments, they're going to mine that avatar. They're going to mine the activity that you're doing, the shopping that you're doing, the things that you're doing. That's why Core Pass is so important, because if you link that avatar to a core pass and have that digital identity, you're in control of
the core pass basically is the digital identity. That's the entry for your identity on the blockchain, right?
Yeah, it's like let's put it this way. It's a link to your profile, but it's your data is stored on your device. You are in control of that device. It's a digitization platform. So you can digitize and prove yourself with your government issued document, but you are in control when you're sharing that through your mobile device. It is stored on your local devices that you have. It's not stored in a database. We don't have access to it. We don't want to have access to it. It's your data. Please, by all means, keep your data. Be in control of it and make sure that you cherish that data, because that's the most valuable thing that you have. And that's why we added digital attributes, because it's not just digitization of your documents that you've been given, from birth. It is also, you can attach your medical records. It can be used in the medical industry. It can be used in metaverses, where you can have digital attributes, where if you buy digital property, digital clothing, if you put a digital avatar to it, in the real world, if you have a car, if you have an apartment, if you're in an office building, you can even attach it with time stamping of your digital identity to say that you have the right to enter the office. It's got everything actually built in there, which is an infrastructure that can be used in any environment, whether real world digital it doesn't matter. And you can attach whatever you want to it, and it's securely yours. So when you share that with someone, you can track and trace exactly who has that data and what rights do they have with it. And you can decide what the right is. Can they sell it on? Can they mine it? No. If you don't want that, don't do it. If you want that and they say, we'll pay you an extra $10 or we'll give you a monthly income for this, sure, why not? You know, if that's what you want to do and you want to sell that data, then by all means do that. That's a means of how you can make money. I mean, right now at this moment in time, if you have a look at the Instagram influencers, you have a look at YouTubers, you have a look at TikTokers, the platforms are paying them to bring the feed so that they can mine that data. And the data is actually where those platforms are making the money because they're selling that off. But in this case, you will still earn your money. The only difference is that they can't sell that data off. But what they can do is they can say, okay, right, at least we know who our people are. I mean, if you have a look at the Elon Musk Twitter saga right now, it's about bots, you know. And, you know, I love his meme that he did. It's quite funny, you know, where he says, I'll buy Twitter. Okay, show me that you don't have any bots. Twitter declines it. And then they say, okay, right, let me allow you or we're not going to show you this, but you still have to buy it and try and force them in court. Now the court is forcing them to show that they don't have any bots, you know. It's kind of crazy, like funny. Yeah? It's really crazy. But, you know, a platform like Corpus can actually solve that instantaneously. If your data is correct from day one, or if you want to clean up your data, this is the type of platform that you put in, because this is a trusted one that you actually know is secure. You know that your users are real and that they cannot falsify themselves. And they also know that they're safe in your platform. That's the most important thing. And this is actually the underlying facet of any environment that you want to enter, anything you want to do. And these are the types of applications that we actually built, because we went and assessed what is the lack that blockchain technology is currently having since Ethereum started. And, you know, all the other blockchains came out and everyone's trying to use like centralized solutions or cloud-based solutions. And, you know, this is the pity about Web3. They all say, yeah, you know, Web3 is brand new. It's all going to be decentralized. They're all cloud-based. What is cloud-based? It's centralized.
Same with NFTs, you know, like basically if you buy an NFT, this image has to live on someone's server, most likely. Yeah. I'm sure you have IFPS or whatever. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, the decentralized side of crypto, lots of things are very centralized and on a control under a small group or small servers or whatever. So we are still like way out from a real decentralized solution, really. And
not so far.
Yeah, not so far.
We have the answer to that, so we're busy doing that.
I mean, there's so many interesting use cases. I remember seeing protests in Hong Kong where they basically tried to shut down the protests and they cut off the internet. Yeah. So they couldn't communicate and stuff. What did they do in Hong Kong? They basically created the Bluetooth mesh network. Obviously, Bluetooth has a very, very limited range.
Yeah, short range, yeah.
It works in a city, but what do you do when you cut off the internet? And obviously, Core does have a solution for that as well, you know?
Yeah, exactly. This is exactly what we can do. You know, we can do right now at this moment, we're testing point-to-point 200 kilometers. You know, that's the range for a point-to-point. We can do from singular antennas in omnidirection, we can do up to 60 kilometers from a singular point. The more devices that actually join, the faster the network becomes. These are the types of things. And then, of course, attached to that, you put a decentralized storage. And what do you have? You actually have devices all over that becomes decentralized storage, which is not in a centralized environment, that works similar to a torrents network, but it's protected by a digital identity with a full rights management system, a new form of steganography, which is what we've developed. You know, there's so many amazing features that our team, I mean, we have an amazing team. It took us 9 years to build this team, and we really have the creme de la creme of really amazing people, you know, to build new forms of steganography, which not even Google, not Widevine or anyone can do it. They actually said it's, and this is really a comment from the CEO of Widevine, which I can really stipulate on a call. They said to us, it's impossible to do it with a peer-to-peer network, what you want to do, using our type of technology and our type of encryption of steganography. And we already did it at that time when he said it's not possible. And then we said, well, you should probably speak to one of your resellers, because we used that account, which we created there, and actually achieved it. And it's functioning 100%. Then they made it a little bit difficult. So we decided, okay, let's stop that. And that was around about, I would say, 3 years ago. And that's when we started developing our own steganography, because these are the types of challenges which, through the history of the company of building this technology, you start building on existing technology, and then you hit you hit blockers, and then you can't move forward because those blockers, they won't unblock you, or you have to try and find a way around it. And then sometimes the way around it is not the right way or a secure way. So the only way that you can do it is to step back a little bit from the wall and redevelop and develop your own. And these are the types of things that we've had to do. I mean, we basically developed our own torrents network, our own mesh network, our own protocols, because there wasn't a protocol that could actually suit the mesh network of what we want to do. And, this is why it took so long. This is,
I mean, the technology is amazing. I mean, guys, if you see that live, like I did, I personally saw how it works, and it's incredible, right? But the biggest question really is technology enough to change, to create a huge community? What do you think is needed for people to use it? Like, what's the easiest use case to get to as many people as possible? Is it the mesh network where you can do video calls without internet? Is it something else? Is it the meeting platform? What do you think is going to propel Core forward in the future into a growth phase where people adapt it rapidly?
Well, I can tell you the first one is the digital identity and core pass. We have huge interest in this. And I can say it's on certain government levels, and I can say it's on very large use cases. And then we also have smaller entities. Unfortunately, I cannot mention them due to NDAs and certain things that we're busy doing. But we really have very, very strong interest. And the next thing that I would say is probably an important feature would be the video calling and video streaming, where you basically, you're uncensored and you're
uncensored?
No one can, yes,
really?
Yeah.
Revolutionary in these days.
No, but you're really uncensored. But what it's got AI and various other things. Of course, if there's violence, or if there's some other things, that's you have these risks in these types of platforms. But the nice part is that the AI will actually warn you that it might be something that you are not interested, that it's not of your daily viewing. We don't track you whatsoever. Your own digital identity is learning from you, but it's storing your data on your device. So,
but I mean, is it similar to, like, for example, like it's uncensorable content, which in my opinion is the right of every person to say whatever they want.
Yeah, you have freedom online, of speech,
right? Freedom of speech, but it's very, very difficult today to really talk about this, but there are certain, for example, let's say if a government says, okay, we don't want certain type of content, they could build a front end, and this front end basically filters out everything they don't want them to see. Is that something that anyone can do, like build a front end so that you can only access it through this way, or is this something which you can't really get around?
Well, this is where the core pass and the digital identity actually comes in. So it depends on how you want to apply it. The AI that's running in the background learns about what the individual, it's more about the individual viewer, to protect the individual viewer. Age restrictions and things. That's why the core pass is so important, because if you're not 18, you can't watch a video that is for adult content. Or in some cases, in some countries, depending on the jurisdiction where you're from, 21. So
you can't go around it.
You can't go around it because you're proven in the digital identity. And it is with the steganography, which is linked to an immutable ledger where your digital identity is actually linked to, you can't watch it alternatively. And but
this is super interesting. Basically, what you're saying is, like, you can, based on the core pass, content can be viewed or not be viewed, and you also can
well,
be
it's only on
monetized.
age restriction and things. But let's say, for example, let's say there's a violent video and it's not your daily activity of watching something violent. It's gonna inform you that this is a more sensitive content, because your own digital identity is actually shaping you, but you're in control of that, because we don't have access to that data. We don't track you, but your digital identity on your device is actually stipulating, okay, so these are the genres and things that you like, and it's sort of like helping you to create your environment for you. So when you log into the platform, then it stipulates, okay, you are you, and you know what you like. And if a video comes up and it says, hey, listen, this is not normal, but you can watch it if you want. It's up to you. It's sensitive content. You can click on it and you can watch it. We allow the freedom of speech. We cannot, if you want to have freedom of speech, you got to have freedom of speech. There's going to be content that people don't like. Hate speech is going to be there. There's going to be different things. People have different opinions, so be it. But at the end of the day, this is where you can protect yourself. And it's about you. It's about what you want to do. With governments and things like this, it's very hard because you cannot block it. It's borderless, it's decentralized, it's serverless.
So once the genie is out of the bottle, basically
there's nothing you can do. You cannot stop it. You have to literally switch off the sun, block off every single network.
So you're talking about Skynet now, right?
Yeah, well, it's like, it is sort of,
The machine's going to take over. We're going to block the sun. We're going to cut them off from the energy.
But it's not just that. But at the end of the day, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to shut off every bank, every government, every single organization in the world that's using frequencies. Every frequency in the world has to be shut down to switch off this network. It's impossible.
How can you shut down a frequency? How's that possible?
Exactly. It is not possible because everyone needs to use frequencies to communicate something. And whether it's government, whether it's military, whether it is us as individuals, whether it's a business, whatever, you cannot shut that down and you cannot block it. So because it doesn't come with an IP, because it's serverless, it's borderless. So the content can be streamed. Calls can be made in any country. It doesn't matter. It's uninterceptable because it's peer-to-peer. So
do you reckon that it's going to thrive more in developing countries with the bad infrastructure? Or do you think that it's already? Or do you think that the like countries with great technology, 5G and all that stuff, they're going to adapt it as quick as well?
5G can work in a city, but it cannot actually. Have a look. There was actually in Vienna, there's 5G. Is it working?
I don't know.
Actually, you can. I think it's Harry. Harry has 5G at his close to his house, and he stipulated that he's got slower internet than normal, and he's using 5G. And I can tell you right now, 5G is extremely expensive and very, very short range. You're still going to sit with the bottleneck. You're still going to have exactly the same problem. This is where a mesh network comes in, and like a type of a torrents network, because you're seeding packets. So you're sharing data, and the more people that share, the faster everything comes.
So the mesh network is going to be built with the mining devices, right? You have them, or is that?
Yeah. It is the Ore by twos. So we are actually quite far down the line. It's very, very exciting. With some new tech that we just started now, so we're waiting now for the new tech to come in. It's really, really exciting. Unfortunately, I cannot tell too much about it.
For sure.
But I am like I'm like a little boy on Christmas morning, waiting for that gift to arrive.
I can imagine. But, there's we've already talked for 45 minutes or something like that, and for me it feels like we just scratched the surface of what core does. We probably need to talk hours and hours and hours and days to get through what this technology can do and what you're trying to build. So I'm going to put all the links into the description, guys, if you want to learn more about core decentralized technologies, if you want to learn more about the mining, and people from my community as well, like from the Social Swap. I'm the co-founder of Social Swap, the decentralized exchange. I have people in the community who already built their own mining rigs to mine core coin, it's like, and to them it feels like the early days of Ethereum mining, because they are mining a lot, and there's so many angles, so much stuff happening, so many things being developed that it's really hard to keep track what's happening. And I don't know how you do it. So basically working 24/7, right?
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit like that, but you know what? At the end of the day, I can say that it's a lifestyle and it's a passion. For me, I said it when we did the live stream with you guys. For me, it's not about money. It's not about the coin. It's not about anything else other than connectivity is a human right. Communication is a human right. And I want to make the difference. For me, it's more about making the difference and making the impact of providing a better future for the world's children. Because if no one's taking care of the world's children, at least that is our duty as the fathers to do that, to leave the world in a right place for children and for future communities to actually run this. This is the real passion. I've experienced that in rural areas in South Africa, seen amazing things happen there. And what I can really say is the way that a community uplifts and supports each other, we all can learn from that. And this is what I want to do, is I want to give them that equal opportunity. I want to include them into an active community, on an active economy.
Yeah, and I think that this is one of the most important parts. I mean, the technology seems like it's going to change the world, and there's so many stuff happening. But for me, one of the most important things is the community around it, and the purpose around it, and giving people the ability to transact, to connect, to communicate around the world without restriction is something everyone, as you said, has a right to. Like. There's still billions of people. You can't even imagine the number. Billions of people. They don't.
3.5.
Yeah. Apart from having not enough food and drinking problems, but they don't have any internet. They don't have any access to banking or financial services. And there's so much stuff to do, and so many more people to connect. And this might be one of the ways, right, to get this world connected into a better future, into a decentralized future, where nobody has a switch off or can do anything to stop this basically getting into the hands of the people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I got a question in the chat. Someone writes, did the telecommunication companies allow you to go live?
Why? Well, first and foremost, the question starts off wrong with allow us to go live. You can't stop us. Yeah. Actually, the one thing that I do want to say is look, it might seem like we're crazy to take on such companies, but it depends on how you approach it. If you have a look right now, infrastructure is one of the most expensive things. The reason why there's areas in first world countries and even in third world countries that don't have connectivity is because they haven't got infrastructure. This is what we provide. If an ISP comes to us and says, okay, I'll help you guys, we'll say, we'll help you. You don't need to put up millions of dollars of towers and dig more holes in the ground to put fiber and things. Give us the last connection you have and we'll give you last mile reach at the most affordable price that you could do it, which makes it feasible for them to actually reach the areas that they can. Because the reason why there's not connectivity is because there's not enough people. So they can't make the return on the investment fast enough. And this actually is a capital layout issue that they have, which runs into their cash flow and things like this. We solve that issue. So to say, did they allow us to go live? Well, if we provide them a solution that can give them more users and that can further the network itself, why not?
And for example, with your miners also, like they are like very small devices using very, very little energy, which is also a big topic. There's so many topics, so many things. As I said, we could talk about that. We just don't have enough time. I just want to keep this under an hour, so we just got a few minutes left. And one thing I really want to say is like the community is something which makes this really blossom, you know, like
Yeah.
if you bring together interesting communities, interesting people, and it's great really to have social swap as a use case on this new blockchain. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. But I've had questions from my community as well, like can I get miners, can I get tokens and all that kinds of stuff. And I just want to say, guys, you can still get some tokens. Like Social Swap is doing a pre-sale for some tokens. I'm also going to include the link in the description of the video. So if you want to get some of the last, I think it's the last tokens, right? I mean, there are no more tokens anywhere.
Yeah, we have, well, we what we did is we sold out the batch, and then we reserved a certain amount for use cases. And this is where Social Swap, for example, came in. You guys bought the tokens, and then what you're doing with those tokens is you're reselling it. And with your swapping, I think it's a great platform, by the way. I love actually having Social Swap. I love your community. I love your project. I think it's fantastic. So and right now you are the only use case that has these tokens. So no one else has them, and no one else can sell them. So
yeah, and we're also, I mean, we have huge interest from people regarding the mining as well, because I mean they want to be early. I mean there's because it's proof of work, I guess there's going to be difficulty increases, and if there are less miners, it's going to be more profitable. Like with any other proof of work blockchain. Just imagine in 2009, right? You could have downloaded this file from the internet, the mining file for Bitcoin mining. You press the file, the program installs, and you start mining Bitcoin, right? You get 50 Bitcoin per block. I mean, anybody could do it back in the day. You just need the laptop and download and install the software, and you are ready to go, really. And today, Bitcoin mining is a huge industry, capital intensive industry. But if you're early to something, it can pay off. And for me, this feels like a very super early stage, right? I mean, it's just ready to launch, and it's new technology. So check out what Core is doing, guys, right? Check out all the links in the descriptions. If you want to get some tokens, you can still get them on the pre-sale. And pretty soon we're going to meet again, I guess, in November in Dubai, where you guys most likely will showcase some of the stuff, because there's even stuff we haven't even talked about, like the Tok platform or the Ting platform, and like so many more things. We might have to have another interview in the future, right? To talk about more use cases. But I'm really looking forward to using your technology, your blockchain. So once the Core Pass goes live, I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna start using the blockchain. And what I'm interested in is like how many companies, how many people will start building on this blockchain, how the mesh network is going to grow. And basically it really feels like a new era which you are bringing into the world. So it's super interesting.
Adoption comes from the bottom, it doesn't come from the top.
So, and you as you said, you are from South Africa, so you know how it is in rural communities, and you have a solution for people who basically are forgotten by the big companies because they don't make any cash on them, right? As you said, like it's not worth putting a fiber cable into the ground or whatever for 100 people in a remote area, but your technology solves so many problems. So I'm really looking forward to everything you guys are doing, and I'm honored to be part of that, just see it grow. So it's going to be super interesting. And Dubai is going to be great. So I'm going to talk about Dubai in some of my future videos when we have everything planned and mapped out, what we're going to do in Dubai and how we can showcase. But Michael, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for taking the time to be here tonight. And I hope we'll meet each other very soon.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much. Thank you for the interview. It was great.
So let me stop the live stream.